It's been a couple of weeks since I posted a video, and the last video that I posted was on April 8th, I think, and it's been trying. It has been a trying last couple of weeks. I just went to the last service today for my grandpa's cousin who was in the family reunion committee with me. And let me explain the word trying versus difficult. It was difficult when I lost my grandma. It was difficult when I lost my grandpa. It's been trying losing a close member from church. It's been trying losing a relative who was not immediate. I didn't have to sit on the first two rows at either of these funerals. It definitely was not easy. April 8th threw me for a loop. If you would have told me earlier that week that April 8th would have been like that, I would have not have believed you. But it's been trying. That's the best way to describe it. I'm fine. As I mentioned, I just left her service a couple of minutes ago. But the title of the video, Prayer and Fasting Will Not Change God's Will. So, about a month ago, when I did the video after my pastor's sister passed away, that video was talked about how, God can heal them, but they won't stay here forever. I mentioned how, there were some people in the church I was still worried about. Well, God decided to take my worries away. And that was the lady from church who passed away on April 8th. She was the person who I was kind of concerned about. So as I mentioned, prayer and fasting won't change God's will. You can fast and shout and pray and do all this, but if God is going to take them out of here, he's going to do it without your permission, for one, and two, without a warning. Death is permanent. Death is so permanent. But we just have to trust and know that God knows what he's doing. And not saying that not sinning is not easy, but for me, the hardest part about being a Christian is not the not sinning part. Even though I can have some challenges with that at times, he's working on me. It's when he calls somebody home, especially somebody who was influential to the church and to your life in general. And you have to come to terms that you'll never see them anymore. You have to come to terms with that you'll never see them anymore. So I mentioned that because when the lady from church first stopped coming to church, it was something not that serious, what we thought at that time. And then things happened and, people can have changes in their health. They get better, they get worse. And we were always praying. She was always on the prayer list. And God decided to take her off the prayer list on April 8th. I mentioned fasting because I also mentioned in that video about how God can heal them, but they won't stay here forever. My aunt's friend from our church, who was the choir director, I fasted that Wednesday before. I was praying and fasting. I went without eating that full day, thinking, God, can you heal her? Can you heal her? Can you at least let her see her grandson get to kindergarten? I was praying and fasting and believing and reading the Bible that God would heal her. And then by the time I woke up that next day, we got that phone call that she had passed away. My mom got that phone call while she was at work. So, and God knows your intent. He knows that you are not trying to be selfish. He understands that you love these people, but if he wants to call them home, it's just something that you have to grasp and live with. Okay. He knows it's not easy. He knows it's not easy. I was just thinking about all the different times where people have been sick and people on Facebook asking for prayers. The lady from church, it was so many people who were praying for her. Her son was talking about how she felt the prayers. But there's an analogy that I thought about. And on that night, when she was at the hospital, and my aunt was talking to my grandmother, she said sometimes the body just breaks down. And I was thinking about her son who had this truck. He had this old truck that he had for as long as I had been alive, but eventually that truck just broke down and it could not be driven anymore. And there's actually a 3-minute sermonette from a minister, I believe his name is Lester Wormley. I'll remember to tag it. It talks about junk the body. It talks about at some point the body is done for, but the soul goes back home to be with God. And for both of these ladies, for my grandpa's cousin and for the lady at church, things are better already. Things are better for me. I had to realize that God realized they have no more place in my life, but they will always have a place in my heart. And I can thank God for them being godly Christian examples of people to admire. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say today.